2 weeks into the transfer window, we have been linked with 26 players. In the history of the January transfer window, Manchester United have only signed 16 players in 16 years. Statistically, it means we're going to be signing one player, but we are not signing all the 26, and I'm sure that's going to be over 30, maybe even over 40 by the time February rolls around. It's the January transfer window, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen Howson. This is Full Time Devils. There's only one place we're starting. You know exactly where we're starting, and that is Alexis Sanchez. It's Alexis Sanchez. Caveat time. As we're recording, things are actually happening right now, so some of this might have changed. So the Mail are saying that we are prepared to make Alexis Sanchez the highest paid player in the league. Now that's where I think a lot of this comes down to. City are about to drop a £30 million signing on bonus for him if he signs for them in the summer. United were prepared to pay Arsenal what would be Alexis Sanchez's signing on fee to get him now. And it's going to be, does the player want loads of cash right now in his wage, or does he want loads of cash in the summer? And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Does he want to play week in, week out? And does he think he can be the catalyst for getting Manchester United back to the top? Or does he think he wants to go to be part of Pep's revolution at Manchester City, probably pick up a Premier League winners' medal this year, but maybe not play as much as he would if he was at Old Trafford? That is a conundrum for Alexis Sanchez, and I sit completely on the fence on this one. I would love him if we got him. I would love it if we got him. I'm just not sure we're going to. And Rio Ferdinand's got a very interesting take on it. He says that he thinks that Alexis Sanchez should sign for Manchester City. He says if he goes to Manchester United, it'll be for the history of the club and this, that and the other. A lot of people have started spinning Rio's words into different things than what he actually said. One of them being the Metro. Of course it was the Metro. You have to even check the day that they print it, because you don't even know if that's going to be right. The Metro are saying that United are going to get snubbed by Alexis Sanchez. It's not what he said. It's not what he said. Why do you have to make up lies when it's on a national TV programme that we can all see? Why would you do that? Journalism's dead if that's what you continue to do. But it's hard to get excited, because it feels like this Alexis Sanchez deal has been on the cards at Manchester City for like a year, doesn't it? He's obviously got a prior relationship with Pep Guardiola, which Guillem Balaguer is trying to blow up like it. He was trying to compare it with Gary Neville's relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson. Now let me just roll that one back for you there. Guillem Balaguer. Alexis Sanchez played 40 times for Pep Guardiola. Gary Neville was given his debut, played nearly 20 years for, and was eventually anointed club captain by Sir Alex Ferguson. Not really a comparison there, my mate, is there? I don't think. Guillem Balaguer also is coming out and saying, is Sanchez going to choose Pep or money? Which is an hilarious stance to take about the way Manchester City have gone about their business, isn't it? Think about it. None of the people that are at Manchester City right now are there for anything other than money, are they? Now, if you sign for Manchester City now, you might have a chance of some silverware. Hands up, they're probably going to win the league this year. It's almost like buying or being given a free Premier League winners' medal this year if you go and join Manchester City, innit? Hands up, I could see a lot of players going for that. But the whole operation at Manchester City at the moment is predicated on aggressive, money-orientated, throw loads of money around and sign everybody. My take on Alexis Sanchez is, we're in for him. City are in for him. He's got a massive decision to make. I think it is a genuine bid from Manchester United to get him. I think some parts of Manchester United get him. I think they're going to get him. Some parts still think he's going to go to Manchester City. I've got to go straight down the middle on this one and say 5 out of 10. But I hope it's more by the end of the week. I stood here last week and said to you that reports were saying that Chelsea had dropped out of the race for Alexandro, leaving Manchester United as the only ones to go and get him. So if we want him, we're probably going to get him. And all the reasons why, because he's fell out of everybody at Juventus. Now the Mirror are saying it's down to United and Chelsea. So someone's wrong somewhere, aren't they? He was either wrong last week or they're wrong this week. Either way, as it stands, the same as last week, I don't see why Chelsea would need a left back. I think they've got pretty good cover at left back. United, I'd love to say Luke Shaw's going to be the solution and the answer and just the guy that owns that left back spot. He's looked pretty good since he returned from his injury, but he is injury prone. It took him a long time to come back from this leg break, and let's just be real with each other for a second here now. Would you put money on Luke Shaw playing every game between now and the end of the season? Because I wouldn't. And I think that's what Jose's thinking. He either needs backup or he needs a first choice. So, a bit like Sanchez, I think United's interest in Sandro is probably real. He's probably a gettable player. He's experienced, which is the sort of thing that Jose Mourinho definitely wants, I think, at the moment. Players in their prime, players who can come into the team right now. But I don't know. Can't remember what I gave it last week. I think that the fact that he's still being linked with United, it's got to be a good 6 out of 10, hasn't it? Speaking of left backs, Danny Rose. We have spoken about this one last week. We have spoken about this over the last couple of months. It seems to break that there was definite leaks from inside the club, wasn't there? And the leaks and the word around Manchester was that Danny Rose and Ozil, actually, was two players that Jose Mourinho wanted to get over the line in January. And he was prepared to let Mkhitaryan go for that, and he was prepared to let Luke Shaw go to get that. Now, supposedly the argument between Mourinho and the board was because Danny Rose was wanted by Mourinho, and the board was saying, you've got Luke Shaw, why do you want to sign Danny Rose? For possibly the first time ever, I agree with the board on that we didn't really need to be going for Danny Rose while we've got Luke Shaw. It makes a lot of sense what they was sort of saying on that. Now, the article that's come out on this one is from Steve Nicol, former Liverpool player, on ESPN over in the States, and he was talking about Spurs, and he was talking about players that can go, and he said he thinks that Spurs will sell Danny Rose because they've got lots of depth in that area, which is logical, but it doesn't mean that he's going to, it takes two to tango, but in actual fact, it takes about 7 people to agree for transfers to go through. You obviously need the player to agree, you obviously need the manager of the opposite team, you need the manager of the current team, you need boards and directors and agents and everybody else all to line up and get in a row to make a deal happen. Manchester United's board don't want to spend on a left back at the moment, I don't think. Certainly not to the level that will get screwed off with Daniel Levy, because you know how that goes down, don't you? An English player from Tottenham, we don't want to go anywhere near that. We've got Luke Shaw. I could see us going with someone like Sandro. I think what Nicol's saying is logical, but just because it's logical doesn't mean it's going to happen. Loads of illogical things happen all the time. So, Steve, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10 at the moment. Lucas Moura is a name that is not going away, and it's one we're probably going to see for this entire window. Now, my personal feelings aside, the reports are suggesting that something's on the cards, but this could be a case of Manchester United doing dual negotiations. We might be negotiating with Malcolm, we might be negotiating with Moura, we are negotiating with Sanchez. If Sanchez is the first choice and Moura's the second choice, you might see this strung along until there's a conclusion in a Sanchez case, one way or another. So this could go right down to the wire. The Express have written a report because Claudio Ranieri, the Nantes boss, has come out and said that he thinks Moura would move abroad. It's probably just a little throwaway comment in a press conference or after a match. Yet, the possible theoretical relationship that Mourinho has got with Claudio Ranieri, if you remember the CR that he wore on his chest after Ranieri was sacked, there may be some relationship there with Ranieri and Mourinho. It's enough for the Express to write an article saying that he thinks Mourinho is going to get his man based on the facts of all the above. On the basis of that article alone, I don't think there's enough to go off. On the basis of all the other weight of evidence that's kicking around, I think that there is definitely something in the Moura thing. As I said, personal feelings aside, I don't think he's the player that we need. But I do think that we are negotiating with them. Whether that means he's the first choice or the third choice, we have no way of knowing. But I definitely feel like we are negotiating with them. I can't imagine that we would sign Moura and Sanchez in one window. I could imagine us signing one wide player. I could even see us signing Sanchez and playing him on the right. What a tasty forward three that could be. Martial, Lukaku and Sanchez. Woo. However, on this article alone, 3 out of 10. Neymar. We covered this in tomorrow's Transfers Today on Thursday night, and this was a Le 10 Sport report, which was lies as it was being written. Sports Witness did a good breakdown of it, and they said basically the basis of the article was that it wasn't going to happen in January, it wasn't even going to happen in summer, it was going to happen in 2019 summer transfer window. And as Sport Witness said, they're like, it's that far in the future that if he doesn't move, everyone will just forget what they've said. So it's an easy bullshit article to write, essentially. So they've written it. They also linked in Real Madrid, which is, you sit there thinking, which clubs could afford 500 million? United and Real Madrid. It's an easy win, isn't it? There's no thought gone into it whatsoever. Now, as expected, almost like clockwork, frustratingly, because this is where we get our information, isn't it? Or we're supposed to get our information. There's nothing original in journalism at the moment. You see more originality in tweets from the likes of Damasio and people like that than you do in actual journalism in papers that they make you buy. The Mirror and every other trashy transfer bullshit little paper has come out and said their own version of this £500 million Neymar to Manchester United. I'm not even going to give it a rating because it's bullshit. How about that? In academy news, there is a bit of good news. We have signed a young lad, Charlie McCann from Coventry, also played for England under 16s. Looking forward to seeing how that one develops. Welcome aboard, lad. That was the ins, this is the outs, and to kick it off, we've got an absolute banter of a club thinking that they're well above their station. Arsenal. Arsenal fans want Anthony Martial. I've wanted Kelly Brook since 1998. How about stay in your lane? You're not getting. Why would Anthony Martial go to Arsenal? 0 out of 10. The Daily Star have got an exclusive for us, and it's Marouane Fellaini, and they're linking him to West Ham in a reunion, because David Moyes is there, right? Why did these articles come up? It was like Hernandez being linked with United last week, wasn't it? Where you're like, he used to play for them, let's link him. Now, I think it's fairly likely that Fellaini's going to be leaving, but I think if he does leave, he's going to be leaving abroad. If they're trying to get rid of Javier Hernandez because of the excess wages that he's on, they're not going to bring in Marouane Fellaini, who's on considerably more, are they? As much as Moisey wants him. That being said, Moisey has signed him a couple of times already, so maybe third's a charm. Fellaini to West Ham, 4 out of 10. We got metroed, fellas. Mkhitaryan. Now, I think if we're all really honest with ourselves, we all see the end coming with Mkhitaryan. Whether our personal thoughts on that he should be given more chance, whether he's had his chances, personal thoughts aside, it feels like the end is nigh for Henrik Mkhitaryan at Manchester United. But the metroed everybody with this absolute gem of a headline. Jose Mourinho admits he could sell Henrik Mkhitaryan. You're like, whoa, that's mega specific, isn't it? Let's look at the quotes. What Jose Mourinho actually said is, every player has that. It's the same that he gets asked when he gets asked if he's signing someone. He goes, oh, good player, yeah. I don't talk about players that I'm signing. He doesn't talk about players that he's selling either. He doesn't talk about any of this stuff in press conferences. He said every player has their price, no matter their stature, no matter their anything, every player has a price. He doesn't name Henrik Mkhitaryan or anybody. It's the Metro jumping to conclusions and then making up headlines. It's what they do best, I guess. Do I see Henrik Mkhitaryan leaving in this window? Yes, I do. But the article's bullshit. Correlation and causation and all that caper. Henrik Mkhitaryan to leave United, 6 out of 10. Metro, 0 out of 10. Matteo Darmian, that's another name that we think, if we're honest with ourselves, the lack of him that we've seen, to be honest, suggests that he's probably not on Mourinho's Christmas card list. And he's probably one of the first names on the get rid of list. Sports Witness, or as they'll now hereby be known, Old Faithful in the transfer market. I've got a pretty good article out there talking about Roma, saying that Roma have held preliminary meetings in London with the player's agent, and they are looking to raise some cash to try and get a transfer together. Now that is how journalism is supposed to be done. Metro, Star, MEN, are you listening? They found out that someone somewhere, and they found out the topic of the conversation, and it makes a lot of sense, and they've not clickbaited anybody into anything. So Darmian to Roma, I guess it depends on whether they get the cash, and I have no idea on that variable. So I'll say at this basis, 5 out of 10. And that's it from us. If you've not had enough of your transfer fix, then 11 PM every single weekday night that Manchester United aren't playing, come on, think about it. We'll be having tomorrow's transfers today, 11 PM, so come and join us and have your say on what's going on in the transfers as we delve into all the bullshit and tell you who's lying and who we think is telling the truth and what we think is likely to come from all of those. If you've got a United YouTube channel and you'd like to get involved, this is the video for you. Send your stuff in, the link is in the description below. We'd love to have you involved. And that's it from me, from Old Trafford. We're halfway through the January transfer window. As we said at the start, statistically, we are bound to sign one player. Now you let me know in the comments who you'd like that to be, and I'm out of here. See you later.